Objection!
Overruled!
Investigations 2. Talk about a total 180. Straight after one of the weaker games in the franchise suddenly arrives at easily one of the best.
And for its final villain, we had almost a first in the franchise, a villain no one expected. No way, no way, no way, no way, no way, no way, yes way, Simon Keyes, you colossal bastard.
Simon Keyes first showed up in the Imprisoned Turnabout where he's a suspect for the killing of the villain from the previous case, Horace Knightley. But while he wasn't directly responsible for that murder, he was in some ways behind it.
That's really the scariest thing about Simon, how little of a part he needs to play to instigate the murders of everyone who's wronged him. He's the perfect manipulator of animals and people, forcing emotional responses with each meticulously deliberate syllable, perfectly displaying the right information to the right people, so that everything unfolds the way he sees right.
After you accuse him, his personality flips as he adopts his more aggressive stance, using squirrels to juggle and cats as armrests.
In his plots, he also had ways of bringing down prison warden Patricia Rowland and Chief Prosecutor Blaise DeBest by using Edgeworth's logic and his long-suppressed desires to take his father's footsteps as a defense attorney. And as we all know, fucking with Edgeworth is a dangerous game indeed.
But it gets even more deliberate than that. He knew if Blaise killed Jill Crane, he had to get Kay framed for the murder so that Blaise would get caught by Edgeworth. Really doesn't even do him justice to refer him as a mere mastermind.
In fact, you only managed to corner him for the one time he needed to get his hands dirty, for the murder of the president of Zengfar's body double.
And his other mistake came in trying to deceive Shelley the Killer.
We all know what happens when you deceive the killer, right? Foreshadowing.
Although his backstory is almost sad enough for him to be more of a tragic villain, the way he used people to kill each other, satisfying only himself, was despicable. Seeing all the animals he too controlled attack him was some sweet justice.
Having this seemingly airheaded moron end up being the mastermind behind the whole thing was a huge shock, though not as much as another character on the list. And taking him down with everyone by your side was excellent, as was seeing Shelley the Killer go all like another character on his ass. Foreshadowing.
Okay, that's enough.
Objection!
Most female characters in Ace Attorney tends to be the protagonists, or at least the more interesting ones with the female villains lacking any good motivations or personalities. The biggest exception to this would be Dahlia Hawthorne.
Now let's first get something out of the way. Fuck Dahlia Hawthorne. She's one of the most dislikable villains in the series, and easily the most evil and callous character. Completely self-centered with a total disregard for human life.
Dahlia entered the world of crime with a planned fake kidnapping alongside her sister and friend. However, she faked her own death in order to get away with all $2 million that she was stealing, and thus pinning the blame on Terry Falls.
Despite her betrayal, she made Terry trust her to the point where he would drink from their special vial if they couldn't see eye to eye anymore, leading to him killing himself on the witness stand in one of the darkest and most touching moments in the franchise.
Other crimes include the murder of Doug Swallow and poisoning a defense attorney in the courtroom who would go on to then become Goddo, hence the eye thing.
So, yeah, cases 1 and 4 of TNT in a nutshell. She got away with one murder and almost got away with another before finally being taken down in court by Mia Fey. But just as Mia can constantly return in the franchise through spirit channeling, so too can Dahlia, and the battles between these two women go on long beyond the grave.
6 years later, Morgan Fey attempts to use Dahlia's spirit to kill Maya to ensure Pearls' place as future head of Karain, but it all goes horribly wrong.
Her spirit is channeled and called in as a witness in Bridge to the Turnabout, and she gloats about her victory, claiming that nothing can hurt her now as her spirit and ego will always live on. Before Mia's final victory over her comes into play, highlighting how each plan she concocted ended in failure, totally crushing her once and for all.
And that demonic breakdown. Holy shit, does it ever feel good to mentally break someone so evil that it results in a fucking exorcism? It goes against her turning so twisted from being brought up by unloving parents, as previously mentioned, which poses deeper questions about if people are born evil or if it's learned, but in this case, it was probably the two combined that created something truly horrific.
Dahlia Hawthorne is not funny or charming, but it's the terrifying extent of her malice that makes her great. How much her actions have damaged and affected so many people across many years, including some of the series' most important characters, makes her iconic in the franchise. And no villains list would be complete without her.
Hold it!
Great villains can and have been many things. Sly, uptight, deceptive. Furio Tigre is none of these things, and that's why we think he's great.
Finally, a character on this list with some real personality. Or should there be personality, if you know what I'm saying? It's a cat joke, leave me alone.
From his clearly villainous theme song to his over-the-top breakdown, nothing about this guy is subtle. He's almost a parody of the classic so obviously the villains of the first two games because, from the very beginning, this guy was so obviously the villain.
The case starts with a fake trial and a fake right failing pretty badly. A retrial is then called for, and the first time you run into this guy, he starts screaming, threatens you, and then runs off claiming to be the one and only Phoenix Wright. Wait, this guy can't be the... Oh god, the hair... Oh, jeez.
This is all round one of the best things about this guy. You think he's going to be this crafty master of disguises, but as it turns out, he only got away with pretending to be you by threatening everyone standing against him, which allows them to look past his cardboard attorney's badge, thick Brooklyn accent, and how both Maggie Bird and the judge pretty much confirm, yeah, he was kinda like you, except completely different in every way, but hairstyle, close enough, right?
And it's this fierce aggression and everyone's reactions to it that makes him so entertaining. He's manipulative, sure, but not in the deceitful and crafty ways of Dahlia and Simon Keyes, more in the ways of do it or I'll punch you.
Because of this blunt, macho demeanor and his running of the non-so-aptly named loan shark business Tender Lender, meaning there's enough people to owe him favors, he actually manages to stage a pretty complex cover-up for killing Glenn Elg in the restaurant Très Bien. To steal Glenn's first-class virus after he wins big on the lottery, he poisons him and then uses his power over the manager to stage another fake murder after to establish a witness claiming they say Maggie poisoned the victim and his own alibi.
Only in more difficult situations, e.g. about to be convicted of murder or threatened by the even scarier mobster Bruto Cadaverini, he turns into a complete wimp in seconds, begging to be let off the hook to protect his own hide, which in many ways makes him even funnier.
Being a gangster, a pitiful coward, or just an asshole, Tigre never fails to entertain at any scene he's in, even though his bark is perhaps a fair bit worse than his bite. Seriously, it can cause blackouts. This guy, what a champion.
Objection!
Merton Gard is by far the most insufferable douchebag of the Ace Attorney franchise.
And we love him for it.
Sure, sure, there's been deceptive villains, surprise antagonists who you didn't quite see coming. We've had the Bobby Fulbrights and the Simon Keyeses, but nothing, and I mean nothing, comes close to the lies and facade of this absolute shit.
In Farewell My Turnabout, Phoenix, Maya, and Pearls visit the Gatewater Hotel, but surprise, surprise, a murder occurs. What is this, the Ace Attorney series? Yeah. Okay, good. The victim was an actor named Juan Corda, and they arrested a suspect from some flimsy evidence and under the weak motive of him being Corda's rival actor, Merton Gard.
And come on, this ain't no ace prosecutor, right? He's probably innocent. Have you seen the police force? It's got Dick Gumshoe. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on with the world. So you pop down the detention center to find the airheaded and Gard. He says he didn't commit murder and the Majitama confirms he's not lying, so it's all good, surely.
Soon after that, the details, or so you'd think, begin to fall into place. Matt's manager, Adrian Andrews, is found to have planted evidence to indict Matt and has a far clearer motive to hate both Corda and Ungard. But something's not right. No matter how hard you press, Adrian doesn't admit to anything, only seeming more and more frightened as the case goes on. What possibly more could you discover? I mean, we pretty much already know— Oh, you motherfucker!
The moment where Ungard's true self is revealed is a stark moment indeed. A callous, cowardly man, Matt wanted Corrida dead purely to retrieve a suicide note left by his former lover, Celeste Impact, as the details of the note and his being a complete womanizing twat would damage his refreshing like a spring breeze image and ultimately lose him money.
What's more is earlier on in the case, Maya is kidnapped with a ransom being asked for a not guilty verdict obtained for Ungard. If he was innocent, it wouldn't be a problem, but knowing that he's not changes everything. At this point, one of the very few in the franchise, you're hit with a real moral dilemma. Follow through your accusation of Adrian Andrews proving her to be the killer to save Maya, or go rogue, showing only the truth at Maya's expense.
There's a later point where Ungard's true personality has come out and he knows you have to face the decisions of who to save and whether to follow the side of justice. And so confident he is that you'll save your friend and let an innocent woman die, he takes out his whiskey and laughs at you. I don't think I've ever held more resentment for a virtual character in my life. I don't care if it's emotional manipulation, it's good manipulation, and made the moment where you turn the entire situation around, saving both Maya and Adrian and forcing Ungard to admit his guilt, easily the single most satisfying moment in the entire franchise.
Merton Gard is a scumbag, but an exceptionally well-written one at that. For his being the first in the franchise to pose an actual two-sided issue and the immense satisfaction of being able to turn to killer on his own client to clear up the case makes him stand out amongst other villains and was a definite contender for the #1 spot. But just not quite there.
Take that!
There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, And I.
If Dahlia Hawthorne was truly evil, Furio Tigre was entertaining, and Merton Gard was deceptive, then the best villain not only has to combine all three of these aspects, but pull them off even better altogether.
This guy. If there was one good thing about Rise from the Ashes, and let's be real, there was just one good thing about Rise from the Ashes, it would be the glorious Daemon Games.
Holy fuck, this guy is scary. The way he just takes long pauses before replying to someone with that stare, it alone could probably make even the Phantom lose his shit. Scarier yet is its punishment for subordinates, taking them up to his office to play them an organ song that temporarily deafens anyone daring to fuck up even slightly.
But most disturbing is his grand command of power. He's the chief of police, which grants him decent authority, but also has serious blackmail on Lana Skye, the head prosecutor, which makes him almost in total charge of the legal world. He can knowingly get away with anything he wants and uses it to manipulate the world of law through the police and prosecutor's office.
Once a noble investigator, he was known as the crime computer due to his incredible ability to understand criminals and bring them to justice. However, his job in the Joe Dark killings corrupted him, and his desperation to catch him turned him into evil.
He killed Neil Marshall and forged evidence to indict Emma Skye of the crime so that he could force Lana to forge more evidence saving her sister so that Gant could use the fake evidence indicting Emma as blackmail for his quest of dominance of law. He despised criminals, yet his skills as an esteemed investigator were applied not to stop crime but to cover it up and assure his warped view of justice would be served to all.
Despite this, he, or more the fake facade he puts on to avoid suspicion of wrongdoing, is quite entertaining, giving everyone around him nicknames along the lines of Righto, Worthy, and Udgy, and generally seeming clueless.
And bloody hell, even his theme song is the best of any villain. Called Swimming Anyone, named after the phrase he repeats to change a subject, it clearly carries a sense of authority, but as you start to learn more about what his character really is, its melancholy side becomes more apparent until it sounds almost desperate. The way it's used as he breaks down in a fit of hysterical laughter is chilling, to say the least.
All of this is why Daemon Gant stands out to us. He's hateable, but at the same time, understandable. Certainly a massive force of evil that is an incredibly rewarding journey to stand against as a mere defense attorney and managing to bring him down. It really feels like you've accomplished something far greater than saving a single life.
Everything from his theme to his terrifying personality scream badass. And all in all, he's just thoroughly entertaining in every scene he appears in. He's such a three-dimensional character that it's easy to see and understand his morals, goals, beliefs, and eventual descent into villainy. Gant is not just an evil character, he's a character that turned to evil, which makes righting all of his wrongs all the more engaging and rewarding.
And it all makes seeing him lost it by clapping 30 times per second not an experience we'll soon forget. And that is why Daemon Gant is the greatest Ace Attorney villain.
Thank you for watching this collab, we sure do love a good villain. Do you agree with our opinions? Maybe you have some of your own. I hear there's a section for that somewhere. Anyhow, if you enjoyed our video, give it a like and a share, it really helps us out. If you don't know who I am, check out my channel, Countdown Bleck, with a link on the left, or if any viewers want to see more of the fine works of Randezel27, there's a link on the right. Thanks for watching, and take care.
This is crap.